Good day everyone. We are the group 3. Our topic is about investing in bonds and in mutual funds. So I am Daniela Busquillas. I will be discussing the background on bonds and different kinds of bonds. So what is bond ba? A bond is a fixed income instrument that represents a loan made by an investor to a borrower. So basically, yung bond is isang loan. Yung loan na yon, meron ka makukuhang interest as an investor, may makukuha kang interest, ganun. So, parang familiar na rin naman sa atin yung bond kasi, yan, parang utang nga. So, kunyari, may magkakaibigan, nag-hangout, tapos yung isa, nakalimutan niya yung wallet niya, tapos sinabi niya na, uy, pahiram muna ako ng babalik ko bukas, ganun, or babalik ko mamaya, ganun. So, parang, na sila ng bond. May bond na nangyari. Nag-purchase na ng bond, ganun. Pero, ang pagkakaiba lang is, yung ganun is, anong tawag doon? Informal. Tapos, hindi, for mutual understanding lang. Walang interest. Kasi yung bond, kapag parang nangutang, pag nag-invest ka ng bond, may makukuha kang interest. So, para mas maintindihan natin, I'll give an example. Yung, kunyari, may CCDM Corporation, nag-issue sila ng bond. Tapos, yung bond na yun is may minimum na 1K. 1K dapat yung i-invest. Tapos, sa loob ng 10 years, babalik yung pera. Tapos, yung interest nila, or tinatawag na na coupon rate, is 2%. So, ayun. Kunyari ako yung investor. Tapos, as an investor, nag-invest ako doon ng 1K. Tapos, every year, may makukuha akong 2% ng 1K. Ano ba yung 2% ng 1K? So, 200. So, taon-taon, may nakukuha akong 200 pesos. Tapos, after 10 years, fast forward after 10 years, ayun, babalik na sa akin yung 1K. Yung pinautang ko sa kanila, yung ininvest ko sa kanila. So, yun yung bond. So, basically, bond is a loan that you give to someone in exchange for interest, and at the end of the loan, you get your principal back. Sa financial world naman, is, bond is a legal contract between the lender and the borrower. Kasi, kapag nag-purchase ka ng bond, actually, meron kang rights. Kapag hindi nakapagbigay or hindi nakapagbayad yung borrower, yung nangutang sa'yo, yun, pag hindi sila nakapagbayad, meron kang right para isu yung nila, yung mga assets nila, or ibang asset nila para, ma-compensate yung in-invest sa kanila. Kaya, yung bond, it is a legal contract between the lender and the borrower. Tapos, bonds are more predictable and stable. Na rin naman na-discuss na rin naman ng mga past reporters yung stocks. No? Stocks din kasi kinds of investments, pati itong bond, kinds of investments yan. So, bonds are more predictable and stable. Bakit? Kasi yung bonds, meron silang may fixed na amount kang makukuha kapag nag-invest ka sa bond. Yan. Tapos, stable. Predictable and stable yung bond. Kung i-compare mo siya sa stock. Yung stock kasi, ang tawag doon, mataas yung risk kapag nag-invest ka sa stock. Kasi, di ba, makakakuha ka lang naman ng pwedeng capital gain or capital loss. Depende nga kung may profit yung pinag-investan mo ng stock or binilhan mo ng stock yun. Depende kung may profit or may loss yung company na yun. Yan. Kaya yung bonds are more predictable and stable. So now, let's move on to the next na how to choose bond. Paano ka pipili ng bond? So may dalawa tayong i-consider yung creditworthiness and yield. First muna natin is yung creditworthiness. Creditworthiness, sa pangalan niya naman kung yung isang company or institution is worthy ba? Worthy pag-investan ng bond. Ganon. Kung yung history nila, yung mga dating nag-i-invest sa kanila na nababayaran ba nila ng consistent. Ganon. So, as long as the borrower is in good financial shape, if they're creditworthy, then you're legally guaranteed the interest payments. Which is why, as a bond investor, you need to do a careful research. Yan. Kasi nga, dapat malaman mo kung creditworthy ba yung corporation or yung institution na pag-i-investan mo ng bond. Okay? So, paano ba natin malalaman kung creditworthy ba yung isang corporation or yung borrower? Yan. To measure creditworthiness, look at the credit ratings. So, ano yung credit ratings? Credit ratings are scores that are calculated and published by independent third-party agencies that help you determine how trustworthy a borrower is. So, yan, credit ratings. Yun yung mga third-party agencies na nagre-rate sa mga nag-offer ng bonds, ganon. Sila yung nag-rate, no? Para malaman natin as investor or ng mga ibang investors na trustworthy ba yung company na or yung institution na yun. Kung nagbabayad ba sila, kung consistent ba sila sa pagbayad, yung sa mga past nila, sa mga history nila na pagpapa-invest or yung pag-loan nila, yung pag-offer nila ng bond. Paano ba yung credit ratings? Meron kasi sila dito. Ayan, may AAA, double A, single A, triple B, double B, single B, tapos triple C, double C, C, at saka D. Yan yung mga rank, yung ratings pala na binibigay ng mga third-party agencies na yan. So, yung triple A, yan, very creditworthy. Ibig sabihin, walang palya. Walang palya yung corporation or yung institution na nakatanggap ng ganyang ratings, no? Triple A yon. Tapos yan, yung double A, at saka triple B, yan naman, tinatawag naman nila na investment grade. Ibig sabihin, saks lang. Nakakapag sila, consistent naman sila, pero may sometimes na ganon, medyo tagilid ganon. So, yung may mga gantong ratings, kailangan mo lang gawa ng onting research, ganon, para malaman mo kung worthy ba sila na pag-investan ng bonds. Yan. Tapos, under lahat ng nasa baba ng triple B, yan, tinatawag na junk bond. Yung double B, B, triple C, double C, C, tapos D. Yan, junk bond naman tawag sa kanila. Ibig sabihin, ayan, medyo suspicious na yung nila. Yung pag-offer nila ng bond. So, yung may mga gantong ratings, ibig sabihin, hindi sila consistent, malaki yung chance na hindi sila makapagbayad, hindi nila mabalik yung principal amount kapag nag-invest ka sa kanila. Yan. Dapat isaalang-alang natin yung credit ratings ng mga institution company na pag-i-investan mo ng bonds. So, yun yung sa creditworthiness. Doon naman tayo sa yield. Yield is the percentage that tells you how much money you're making on a given amount of money invested. So, yield, basically, yan na yung kikitain ng pera mo kapag nag-invest ka dito sa bond. Yan. So, yun yung yield. Yung example nga natin kanina na 1K, kapag nag-invest ka ng 1K, meron silang ino-offer na 2% na interest. So, yung 2%, ano ba yung 2% ng 1K is 200, diba? So, yun yung yield, yung makukuha mo. Kikitain ng pera mo. So, may malaki kasi may inverse relationship yung creditworthiness at saka yield, no? The higher the yield is, the lower is the creditworthiness. So, kapag mataas yung yield, mababa yung lower creditworthiness. Kasi, diba, kapag yung mga company na nag-offer ng sobrang taas na interest, kunyari 10%, ganun, ibig sabihin, medyo suspicious. Kasi, yung mga company na may, excuse me, yung mga company na may mababa na credit ratings, no? Kunyari, na sila, double B, or C, or D, sometimes ganun pa. Para maka-persuade, makahimok, ano bang tawag dun? Para makapaghimok ng mga investor, tataasan nila yung interest rate na ino-offer nila. Higher yield is lower creditworthiness. Pero, kapag higher creditworthiness, lower yield. Yun naman, kapag mataas yung credit ratings nila at naka AAA sila, yun, mababa yung ino-offer nila na yield, na interest rate. Yun. Kasi, yun naman kasi yung purpose ng bond, may fixed na amount kang makukuha. Kaso nga lang, hindi ganun kalaki. Yan. So, yun yung 2 ways para maka-choose ka ng bond. Now, punta naman tayo sa how to buy bonds. Yan. Meron kasing main way, may dalawa tayong 2 main ways to invest in bond. May individual bonds at saka bond funds. Okay, when we say individual bonds can be bought through brokers, banks, or directly from the issuer. However, certain individual bond securities are not available to private investors. Here are some of the reasons for this: high minimum purchase, limited accessibility, regulatory restrictions. So, yun, yung individual bonds, nasa pangalan niya naman this is like buying a loan contract directly from a company or government. So, individual bond, directly ka na bumibili ng bond dun sa mga company or institution. So, you would do this through a broker, bank, or sometimes even the issuer itself. No? Kaso nga lang, sinabi nga dito, however, certain individual bond securities are not available to private investors. Kasi, ang individual bonds, they offer high minimum purchase. Ibig sabihin, meron silang minimum na in-offer. Ganon. Tapos, limited accessibility, regulatory restrictions. Then, pangalawa naman na way to invest in bond is yung bond funds. Bond funds, meanwhile, are investment vehicles like mutual funds or bond ETFs that pool funds from a large number of investors to buy a diversified portfolio of bonds. So, bond funds is, pinagsama-sama yung bonds. Tawag dito. Under ng bond funds yung yung mutual funds at saka ETF or exchange traded funds. Yun. So, yung bond fund, so imagine a pool of money from many investor. Yun yung bond fund. Parang basket sila ng money from different investors na pinagsama-sama para mag-buy ng bonds, ng iba't ibang bonds. Ganon. So, yun yung bond funds. This pool is used to buy a variety of bonds, creating a basket of investments. Yan. That's the bond fund. So, under ng bond funds is yung mutual funds at saka ETFs. When we say mutual funds, these are professionally managed. No? So, marami yan, baskets of funds na pagkakaiba lang is merong manager, parang manager. Ganon. Fund managers, ganon. Meaning, someone picks the specific bonds for the fund. Yun. Then, yung ETFs naman, these are traded like stocks on a stock exchange, but they represent a basket of bonds instead of a single company. Itong ETFs, bond siya, pero tinitrade siya kagaya ng stock, parang stock exchange, ganun. So, yung parang basket of bonds na tinitrade na parang stocks. Ganun. Yun yung ETF. So, yung pagkakaiba kasi ng mutual funds at saka ETF is, yung mutual fund, they set their price once a day and are overseen by fund managers. So may fund managers kasi yung mutual funds, professionally managed. Tapos are actively managed, so the basket might change frequently as a manager buys and sells stocks in specific areas. No? Buy through a broker, financial advisor, or directly from a fund company. Yung ETFs naman, trade all day on an exchange. So basically, they're mutual funds that traded like stocks. Yun yung ETFs, exchange traded funds. Tapos purchase it through exchanges nga sa parang stock exchange itong ETFs pero in the form of bond. Tas responsibility on you sa investors, you decide when to buy and sell. So ito lang, ETFs is less fee. Kasi ikaw mismo yung nagbabuy and sell, ikaw nagmamanage. Yung mutual fund, merong fund managers, kaya meron ka pang extra babayaran. So, bale, yung pagkakaiba ng individual bonds at saka bond fund. Yung individual bond kasi, meron kang clarity. May clarity ka. Ibig sabihin, alam mo, fixed yung yung kikitain ng pera mo. Alam mo kung magkano yung makukuha mo. Tapos may fixed time din. May maturity date, no? Kunyari, yung example ko nga kanina na 1K sa loob ng 10 years. Tapos every year meron kang 2%. So yun yung individual bond. May alam mo yung kung kailan mo makukuha uli yung pera mo. Pero yung kasi, bond fund, basket nga siya ng basket of funds ng mga investor tapos ini-invest sa iba't ibang bonds. Hindi certain yung yung kung walang maturity date kapag nag-invest ka dito sa bond fund. Ibig sabihin tuloy-tuloy lang, walang fixed date na makukuha. Hindi mo alam, walang fixed date kung kailan mo makukuha yung principal money mo, kung yung ininvest mo. Yup. Tapos, pa ba? Yung main pagkakaiba ng individual bond at saka bond funds. Clarity, control. Ayun. Sa individual bond, may control ka. Kasi, kahit may mag-advise sa'yo, or mga external factors, ganun, ikaw pa rin mismo yung mag-decide kung itutuloy mo yung pag-invest sa kantong company or not. Ganun. Kasi diba kapag nag-invest ka, pwede kasing may mangyaring something na kailangan mo agad ng pera, kaya kukunin mo agad yung ininvest mo. Ganun. So, meron kang control. Dito naman sa bond funds, may mga nagmamanage nga na iba. Parang may, what do you call this? May nagmamanage na iba. Kaya hindi mo makokontrol yung mo dyan, pera. Tapos, yung individual bonds, lang niya, medyo disadvantage niya lang is, kailangan, malaki yung pera mo. Dapat marami kang pera kapag nag-i-invest ka dito sa individual bond. Kasi, yung mga, yung individual bonds, meron silang minimum na required para makabili ka ng bond. Kunyari, sa isang company na yun, 100K minimum, ganun. So, yun yung individual bonds. Pero kapag sa bond fund naman, bagay siya sa mga beginner pa lang. Hindi pa ganun kalaki yung pera. Ito yung pwede nyong pag-investan dito sa bond funds. So now, let's move on to the different kinds of bonds naman. So first, corporate bonds. Corporate bonds are fixed income securities issued by corporations to finance operations or expansions. Private or institutional investors who buy these bonds choose to lend funds to the company in exchange for interest payments and the return of the principal at the end of maturity. So, company bonds, corporate bonds, basically yan yung company bonds, mga private institutions. These are basically loans you give to a company. So, yan. That's the corporate bonds, or tinatawag din na company bonds. Ibig sabihin, mga private institution, mga company, yung nag-offer ng bond. Ano pala, para maintindihan nyo, yung bond issuer at saka bond holder. When we say bond issuer, sila yung nangungutang, sila yung borrower, sila yung nagbigay ng bond. Tapos yung bond holder, sila naman yung investor, sila yung nagpautang, sila yung lender. Okay? Now, second, pangalawa sa kinds of bond is international government bonds. International government bonds are debt securities issued by foreign governments. They allow investors to diversify their portfolios geographically and potentially benefit from currency fluctuations or higher yields. Depending on the country or region, they can have additional risks, including political instability, exchange rate volatility, and many others, making them a comparatively riskier investment choice. So, international government bond, nasa pangalan niya na, ibig sabihin yan yung mga foreign governments na nag-i-issue ng bond. Sila yung mga bond issuer, yung foreign governments. So, think of this as loans to foreign governments. They can offer potentially higher returns, but also carry more risk due to factors like currency fluctuations or political instability. So, international government bonds, mga foreign government na nag-i-issue ng bond. Tapos, wait lang. Okay, yun. So, international government bonds is, mataas yung risk kapag invest ka dito sa international government bonds. Kasi example natin, yung Pilipinas. Kunyari, tayo yung international government bonds, tapos nag-buy yung USA sa atin ng bond. Ibig sabihin, parang nagpautang sila sa atin. So, kunyari, yun, nangutang sila ng 100K, nagpautang sila ng $100. Yun. Alam naman natin na yung US, yung dollar to peso. Kunyari ngayon taon, yung $1 is equivalent to 50 pesos. Tapos, nangutang nga tayo ng 100K. Tapos, siguro after 10 years, ibabalik natin yun. Tapos, what if tumaas yung syempre, tataas talaga yun. Tumaas yung yung dollar to peso. No? Kunyari, naging 55 pesos na siya. So, mas malaki yung natin na pera. Ilalabas natin pera sa dapat na ilalabas natin nung unang year na nag-offer tayo ng bond. No? Medyo nagagets siya ba? Basta ganun yung yung logic. Kaya mataas yung risk sa international government bonds. Yan. Okay, then third naman yung municipal bonds. Municipal bonds, or also called munis, are debt securities issued by states, cities, or countries to fund basic projects or operations. Like other type of bonds, they can also provide a steady interest cash flow for the investors. Additionally, these bonds typically offer tax advantages since the interest earned is frequently exempt from federal and sometimes state and local taxes too. So itong municipal bonds, loans. Ito yung loans na binibigay ng states, cities, or countries. They often offer tax-free interest, making them attractive to some investors. So municipal bonds, sa pangalan niya na municipal, mga states, cities, or countries. Fourth, agency bonds. Agency bonds are generally issued by government-sponsored enterprises or federal agencies. Although not directly backed by the U.S. government, they have a high degree of safety because of their government affiliation. These bonds finance public purpose projects and usually have higher yields than treasury bonds. However, they may carry a call risk, meaning the issuer can repay the bond before its maturity date. So, agency bonds na sa pangalan niya. So, basically, itong agency bond is government agency bond. No? These are similar to company bonds but issued by government-backed organization. So, yung kanina, nga nauna is yung corporate bonds. Ibig sabihin mga private company, institution, ganun. So, itong pang-apat naman na agency bond is yung government naman. yung government mismo yung nag-i-issue ng bond. Yun. They are generally considered safer than regular corporate bonds but might have the issuer repay the bond early, called risk. No? Madidiscuss yan mamaya yung mga risks. Pang-fifth, green bonds. Green bonds are debt securities issued to fund environmentally friendly projects like renewable energy or pollution reduction. These allow investors to support sustainability while earning interest. They are like regular bonds except the funds are earmarked for green initiatives. While they offer a way to invest in responsibility, it's essential to ensure that they are actually funding initiatives with a positive ecological influence and avoid greenwashing. So green bonds, nasa pangalan niya na green. Green means go. Kimi. So green bonds, these are bonds used to fund environmentally friendly projects. So ito, yung mga nag-offer ng green bonds is, kaya sila nag-offer ng bond na yon para sa mga eco-friendly initiatives sa mga projects nila. So they allow you to invest while supporting sustainability initiatives. Pero mag-research lang kayo ng maigi kasi may mga naggi-greenwashing, no? Make sure the projects truly benefit the environment, no? Yun. So, pang-6, bond ETFs. Medyo napaliwanag ko naman na kanina to. Bond ETFs, specifically investment in bond securities. They can offer a broad diversification within the bond community, and an ETF may hold a range of different bonds. This provides liquidity, price transparency, and lower investment thresholds than individual bonds. However, like individual bonds, they're subject to interest rate and credit risk, among other risk. So, bond ETF, na kanina, para siyang basket of bonds, pero tinetrade siya like stock. So, nasa parang stock exchange ka na. So, they offer diversification and lower investment amounts compared to individual bonds, but still carry risks nga. So, those are the different kinds of bonds. Yung corporate bonds, yan yung company bonds, individual institution. Then yung international government bonds, yan naman yung mga foreign governments na nag-offer ng bonds. Pangatlo, municipal bonds, or also called munis, yun naman yung mga nag-offer ng bonds, yung mga states, cities, or countries. Tapos
Hello everyone, and I'm the second reporter of Group 3, and my topic is returns from investing in bonds. So ano nga ba yung iba't ibang klase ng returns pag nag-invest ka sa isang bond? Una na dyan is interest payments. These are payments made by the issuer of a bond to the bondholder as compensation for the use of their bondholder's money. So yan yung steady income mo kada buwan or quarter, depende sa usapan. May pumapasok na pera sa'yo, yung bond issuer is nagbabayad sa'yo dahil ginagamit nila yung pera mo para sa projects o expenses nila, no? Parang thank you ba kasi nagpagamit ka sa pera mo. So next is capital gains. This refers to the profit that results from selling a bond for more than its purchase price. So ito yung kita mo kung sakaling ibenta mo yung bond mo sa mas mataas na presyo kaysa sa nung pagbili mo. Hindi ito sure na kita kasi depende yan sa market, no? Kung maganda yung takbo ng ekonomiya, pwedeng tumaas ang value ng bond mo. Next is yield to maturity or YTM. YTM is the total return anticipated on a bond if the bond is held until its maturation date. So YTM, ito yung total na kikitain mo sa bond, kasama na yung lahat ng interest payments at possible na capital gains. Kung hahawakan mo yung bond hanggang sa maturity date niya, parang inipon mo yung inipon mo na pera, alam mo magkano yung lalabas pagdating sa due date. Next one is zero coupon bonds. These are bonds that do not pay periodic interest. They are issued at a deep discount to their face value and pay their full face value at maturity. So zero coupon bonds, ito yung tipong investment na walang hassle, no? Walang periodic interest payments pero malaki yung return pagdating ng maturity date. Parang yung nag-invest ka sa isang bagay na alam mong lalago yung halaga in the long run. Next is bond funds. A bond fund is pooled investment vehicle that invests primarily in bonds and other fixed income securities. The primary goal of a bond fund is often that of generating monthly income for investors. So, bond funds, kung ayaw mo mag-alala sa pagpili ng individual bonds, dito ka sa bond funds. Diversified na, gano'n. May mga professional pa na nag-handle, parang yung set and forget na investment, no? Hayaan mo lang mag-invest ka, tapos hayaan mo lang, tapos magugulat ka na lang sa magiging kita niya. So next is yield to call or YTC. If a bond can be called, the YTC is the yield assuming the bond will be called at the earliest possible date. So kunwari may binili kang bond, tapos may chance na yung kumpanya na nag-issue, pwede silang mag-decide na bayaran ka na kaagad, no? Bayaran ka na agad ng mas maaga pa sa maturity date. Halimbawa, may utang sa yung kaibigan mo, tapos sabi niya is babayaran ka niya after ng 1 taon. So, pero bigla siyang nakaluwag 6 months, no? 6 months from pag-utang sa'yo, bigla siyang nakaluwag. So, nabayaran ka agad in 6 months imbis na 1 year pang hintayin mo. So, yung YTC, ganun yun. Sa bond pa, no? Yung kikitain mo kung sakaling yung kumpanya na nag-issue ng bond, mag-decide na bayaran ka na bago pa yung maturity date, parang yung kumpanya yung nag-offer ng magang settlement, no? Kung tatanggapin mo yun, yun na yung return mo. Okay, on to the last one, which is yield to worst or YTW. This is the lowest potential yield that can be received on a bond without the issuer actually defaulting. So, simple lang yan kung isipin natin, no? Parang yung pinakamababa na kita na pwede mong makuha sa bond mo. Pero hindi pa rin lugi talaga, no? Kunwari, nag-invest ka sa isang negosyo ng kaibigan mo, magandang takbo ng negosyo, malaki ang balik sa'yo. Pero kung sakali man na hindi masyadong kumita, parang may fix na, no? Ito na yung pinakamababa na pwede mong matanggap na hindi kayo parehas nalugi. Yung sinasabing pinakamababa, yun na yung YTW ng bond. So, kahit anong mangyari, humina man yung negosyo, may kita ka pa rin. Hindi yung tipong zero, yung walang-wala, no? Kundi yung pinakamababa na pwede mong maasahan na hindi ka talaga lugi, no? Yun yung yield to worst na bond.
Good day everyone. I'm here to discuss about valuing bond. Sa valuing bond, dito nakapaloob yung face value or par value, coupon rate, coupon payment, maturity date, and also current market interest rate viewed to maturity or BTM. Sa face value naman, kilala rin bilang par value, ay ang nominal value ng isang financial instrument tulad ng isang bond o isang stock. Tulad ng sinabi ng nag-issue, it is the value at which the instrument is originally issued or the value printed on the instrument. Para sa mga stock, ang face value ay karaniwang na maliit ang halaga. Madalas ang nilalagay dito ay 1 peso bawat share. In the case of bond, the face value is the amount that the issuer promises to pay back to the bondholder at maturity. It is important to note that the face value of financial investment or financial instrument is not accurately represent its current market value. Ang value sa market ng isang financial instrument ay tinutukoy para ma-determine ito sa supply at demand and the issuer's financial health. Sa coupon rate naman, sa isang bond ay ang fixed na interest rate na inilalagay ng issuer ng bond at ibinabayad sa bondholder sa regular na interval, karaniwan taon-taon ito. Ito ay kung papaano kinikita ng bondholder ang kita mula sa pag-aari ng bond. Limbawa, kung ang coupon rate ng isang bond ay 5% at ang halaga ng bond ay 1,000 pesos, ibig sabihin nito na ang bondholder ay makakatanggap ng 5% ng 1,000 pesos o 50 pesos. Bilang kita mula sa bond na iyon kada taon, ito ay parang regular na kita na tinatanggap ng bondholder bilang kapalit ng pagpapautang ng pera sa pamamagitan ng pagbili ng bond. Sa madaling salita, ang coupon rate ay ang fixed na interest rate na nagpapakita kung magkano ang kita na makukuha ng bondholder mula sa pag-aari ng bond sa loob ng isang taon. Sa coupon payment naman, ito naman yung halagang ibinabayad sa bondholder batay sa coupon rate ng bond. Ito ay parang kita o interest na tinatanggap ng isang tao mula sa pag-aari ng bond. Kapag bumili ka ng bond, ikaw ay nagpapautang sa kumpanya o institusyon na naglabas ng bond. Dito naman tayo sa maturity date. Ito yung date kung kailan natapos na ang term sa isang bond. Sa petsang ito, ang issuer ng bond ay dapat bayaran sa bondholder ang kabuuang halaga ng bond, kasama na ang huling coupon payment, if ever meron. Ang current market interest rate o yield maturity, YTM na tinatawag, ito naman yung kasalukuyang interest rate na kinikilala sa isang market para sa isang bagong bond issue o para sa mga existing bonds na naglalaro sa market. Tumutukoy ito sa total value na inaasahan ng isang investor kung itatago niya ang bond hanggang sa pagtatapos ng term na ito. Kinikilala rin ito na interest rate na magre-reflect sa kasalukuyang value ng bond sa market. The formula for valuing a bond can be expressed as bond value is equal to $50 multiplied by the quantity of 1 minus the quantity of 1 plus 5% raised to the power of negative 5 divided by 5% plus 1,000 divided by the quantity of 1 plus 5% raised to the power of 5. To calculate the total value of this expression, ito, number 1, calculate 1 plus 5% raised to the power of negative 5. 1 plus 5% raised to the power negative 5 is equal to 1 plus 5% raised to the power of negative 5. Yan. Therefore, the total value of the expression is approximately $1,000. Yun lamang. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Crystal May Alvarez, the next reporter. The topic that I will discuss is risk from investing in bond. Bonds are considered as a safe investment and also come with some risks which are default risk, investment interest rate risk, inflation risk, reinvestment risk, liquidity risk, and last is called risk. Investor who like to take risk to make more money.
First is default risk. If the corporation issuing the bond experience financial difficulties and is unable to fulfill its debt commitment, there is a chance or possible that their bond will default. Next is interest rate risk. The risk that bond prices will move inversely to changes in interest rates. Kasi yung interest rates and bond prices is meron siyang inverse relationship. Na kapag yung interest rates is tumaas, yung bond fall is bababa, parang vice versa. Next is inflation risk. Inflation risk is when the value of money decreases over time, which can reduce the purchasing power of investment return. For example, nag-invest ako ng 10,000 stock, tapos nag-earn yon ng 5% in a year. Pero yung inflation rate nun is 3%, tapos yung balik sa akin is only 2% lang. Next is reinvestment risk. Reinvestment risk is a possibility that an investor won't able to reinvest cash flow from an investment at a rate that equal to higher than their current return. Magiging lugi yung isang investor if i-reinvest niya ulit yung dati niyang nakuhang pera. Like, kapag nalugi, it's either pag nalugi siya dun, it's either itutuloy niya yon or babawiin. Next is liquidity risk. Ito yung company na hindi na-meet yung financial obligation. Means, wala silang cash or wala silang asset na i-convert into cash. Last is call risk. Call risk is the possibility that an issuer will repay a bond before its maturity date. For example, nag-invest ako ng 100k sa isang company. Tas yung interest rate nun is 6%. And also, may tinatawag din na callable. Nasa loob ng 5 years, pwede kang mag-call risk. And then, after 5 years, bumaba yung interest rate ng 6%, naging 4%. So, ako na nag-invest is mag-call risk ako, nakukunin ko na yung in-invest ko at yung mga interest na nakuha ko sa loob ng 5 years. Then, papasok na dito yung reinvestment risk. Kung makakahanap ka pa ba ng company na may 6%. Magkadikit lang kasi yung reinvestment risk and call risk na kung gusto mong kunin yung na-invest mong pera, lalo na kung yung na-invest mo is yung interest rate nun is bumaba, pwede mo siyang bawiin.
Good day everyone, my name is John Princess Michelle Lim and my report is all about bond investment strategies. So what is bond investment strategies? It refers to different approaches that investors use to achieve their financial goals when investing in bonds. So let me share some bond investment strategies. First is buy and hold. This strategy involves yung pagpa-purchase ng bonds and sila yung nag-hold until mag-matured yung investment. So, aiming to receive periodic interest payment and ma-return siya sa same amount or principal amount ng maturity. Parang hindi siya nagbabago. So, let's imagine you purchase a 10-year government bond with a face value of 1,000 pesos and a fixed interest rate of 3%. Then, you plan to hold onto this bond until it matures in 10 years, collecting 30 pesos in interest annually. At the end of the 10 years, you receive the full 1,000 pesos principal amount back. Kasi hindi siya nagbabago. Parang same lang siya kung ano yung ininvest mo, ganun. Next is interest rate speculation. Dito naman, yung investors, ito yung ginagamit nila as a strategy to attempt na yung interest rate nila is hindi mag-move or madadagdagan. Suppose you believe that interest rates will decrease in the near future. To capitalize onto this speculation, you might buy long-term bonds now, expecting their prices to rise as interest rates fall. If your prediction is correct, you can sell these bonds later at a higher price. Ganon. Next is duration matching. Ito naman siya yung strategy na involves yung mga matching duration ng bonds of investment. If you know you'll need a certain amount of money in 5 years, you can purchase bonds with maturities that match your time horizon. For example, meron kang 10,000 pesos in 5 years, you could buy bonds with varying maturities totaling 10,000 pesos with some maturing each year for the next 5 years. Next is laddering. It involves diversifying bond holding across different maturities, means it's spreading bond investment across different maturity dates to reduce risk. Let's say you have 10,000 pesos to invest in bonds. Instead of investing it all in one bond, you create a ladder by buying bonds with staggered maturities such as 2,000 in bonds maturing in 1 year, tapos 2,000 in bonds maturing in 2 years, and so on up to 5 years. This helps spread out interest rate risks and provides liquidity as bonds mature. Next is sector rotation. It involves rotating investments among different sectors of bonds market based on economic conditions and market trends. For example, during periods of economic expansion, yung investor is nagiging pabor siya sa pagtaas ng corporate bonds. Example is you believe that certain sectors of the bond market will outperform others based on economic conditions. For instance, if you expect the technology sector to perform well, you might allocate more of your bond portfolio to technology-related bonds. Yan. Tapos, next is credit quality focus. Credit quality focus means prioritizing bonds with high credit ratings or lower risk of default. It involves investing in bonds issued by financially stable entities to minimize the risk of losing investment capital. Example is you decide to invest only in bonds with high credit ratings to minimize the risk of default. This means you primarily purchase bonds issued by financially stable governments or corporations with strong creditworthiness. So next is yield curve strategies. Involved naman siya sa pag-aalis ng position or taking positions along the yield curve based on expectations of interest rates and movements. So, dito sa yield curve, halimbawa nito is sinusuri mo yung yield curve and nanonotice mo na mas mabilis tumaas yung sa long-term interest rates kesa dun sa short-term rates. In response, pwede ka ding mag-invest sa short-term bonds to take advantage of higher short-term yields while avoiding long-term bonds that could lose value as rates rise. So lastly is tactical asset allocation. Ito naman yung ginagamit ng mga investors na strategy to adjust their bonds allocations based on short-term market conditions. Based on your analysis of current market conditions, you adjust your bond allocations. For example, if you expect inflation to increase, you might increase your allocation to treasury inflation protected securities or TIPS or TIPS to hedge against inflation risk. These strategies can be used alone or in combination to build a bond investment, and each strategy offers its own advantages and risks, and investors often combine multiple strategies to build a diversified bond portfolio aligned with their financial goals and risks tolerance. That's all of my report. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I am Rica Omega, the continuation of report. So I'll discuss the background on mutual funds and types of mutual funds. A mutual funds is a portfolio of stocks, bonds, or other securities purchased with the full capital of investors. Mutual fund give individual investors access to diversified, professionally managed portfolios. Now let's discuss the mutual funds. So, pag sinabi natin mutual fund, ito yung pag-invest na kung saan pwede kang mag-invest sa iba't ibang funds para mapalaki mo or mapalago mo yung pera mo. So, sa pamamagitan ng mutual fund, you have a opportunity na makapag-invest sa iba't ibang klase ng mga funds na maidi-discuss ko later on, na may possible na makapagpalago ng money mo kung sakaling makapag-invest ka. Next is, mutual funds are known by the kinds of securities they invest in, their invest objectives, and the type of returns they seek. Mutual charge annual fees, expense ratios, or commissions which lower their overall returns. So, maraming tao ngayon na nag-i-invest sa mutual funds kasi maaring gusto nila mapalago yung kanilang pera sa pag-i-invest pero may returns kang makukuha dito. Meron din itong mga fees na kung saan kailangan mong bayaran para sa service na binibigay nila sa'yo. The mutual fund manager oversees the portfolio, deciding how to divide money across sectors, industries, companies, etc. Based on the strategy of the bond, mutual fund combine money from many investors to buy a variety of investments. Professional managers decide which investment to buy and sell for the fund. A professional fund manager handles this mix of investment, and its asset and goals are detailed in the fund's prospectus. So, pag nag-i-invest ka sa isang mutual funds, madali lang gawin yon. Pero, syempre dapat mong pag-isipan pag-isipan mong mabuti kung saan ka mag-i-invest. Kasi, dito nakasalalay yung return ng in-invest mo. So, dapat mapagmatyag ka at wais ka sa pag-i-invest. Kasi dito sa mutual funds, merong mga mutual fund manager na kung saan sila mismo yung nag-handle sa inyong funds at nagde-decide din sila kung saan at kailan bibili or bebenta ang mga investment. So, ang mismong fund ng manager, siya yung mag-oversee ng lahat ng mga accounts and related sa documents na kailangan na dapat mapagkakatiwalaan ng isang fund manager. Next is, in the Philippines, mutual fund can be categorized into 4 basic types: stock, equity, balance, bond, and money market funds. What makes mutual funds suitable to young professionals or investment newbies is that you don't have to be a millionaire to start investing. So, dito sa bansa natin, meron tayong iba't ibang mutual funds. Ito yung stock funds, bond funds, at money market funds. So, sa bawat funds na to, may pagkakaiba-iba to sa bawat isa na maidi-discuss ko later on. Types of mutual funds. So, number 1, stock funds. As the name implies, this fund invests principally in equity or stocks. Within this group are assorted subcategories. Some equity funds are named for the size of the companies they invest in, firms with small, mid, or large size capitalization. Other are named by their investment approach: aggressive, growth, income-oriented, and value. So, yung una sa lahat is yung stock funds. Pag sinabi natin stock funds, ito yung pondo na nag-i-invest talaga sa mga equity or stocks. Itong stock funds ang mas karaniwang ginagamit ng mga investor. So, let's say for example ng stock funds ay yung pag-i-invest ng mga common stock ng mga publicly trade licensed companies. So, halimbawa, dito sa Philippine Stock Exchange, dito bumibili tayo ng mga stocks na nakaregister sa PSE at bandang huli ay binebenta din natin sa higher price. So, itong pagbili natin ng mga funds ng publicly licensed company ay nagbibigay sa atin ng mga certain percentage ng isang corporation. Ito yung isang halimbawa din ng stock funds ay yung pagbili ng stock sa isang company. Halimbawa yung San Miguel Corporation. So dahil sa pagbili mo dito, meron kang ownership na naturang company. Next is bond funds. A mutual fund that generates a consistent and minimum return is part of the fixed income category. These mutual funds focus on investment that pay a set rate of return, such as government bonds, corporate bonds, and other debit instruments. The bonds should generate interest income that pays on to the shareholders. So dito naman yung next natin na bond funds. Dito yung sa funds na to, ito yung nagfo-focus naman sa mga investment na nagbibigay ng mga certain percentage of returns katulad ng government bonds, corporate bonds at debit instrument. So, let's say for example, ikaw nag-invest ka sa isang government bonds. So, sa pag-invest mo, meron kang makukuha ng mga monthly interest income sa bonds ng iyong pinag-investan. So, yung itong bonds funds na to ay less risky kasi compared siya sa stock funds dahil yung return nila ay kadalasang fixed at predictable naman siya. And the last one is money market mutual funds. The money market consists of safe, risk-free, short-term debit instrument, mostly government treasuries bills. The return on them earns substantial. A typical return is a little more than the amount earned in a regular checking or savings account and a little less than the average certificate of the deposit. So, dito naman sa money market mutual funds, parang magka-same lang sila ng bond funds. Ang pinagkaiba lang nila yung parang short-term itong money market funds kasi dito yung returns ay hindi siya fixed. So, mababa lang ang return ng pera natin dito. Pero, kadalasang ginagamit ang money market funds sa temporary ng pag-hold ng ating mga cash. Kasi na gagamitin natin sa mga future investment or merong emergency. Kasi dito nilalagay ng mga investor yung kanilang pera para mas madali kunin kapag may emergency sila or may paggagamitan sila ng kanilang pera. Kaya yung money market mutual fund is short term lang ito kasi kukunin mo din naman siya bandang huli. Parang, di ba kasi dito sa isang stock bonds, parang fixed siya. So, dito sa money market, parang pwede mo siyang kunin. And then, so I give example na lang ng isang money market funds. Yung tinatawag na BSP Treasury Bills. So, itong bills na to ay short-term lang siya, kaya readily convertible to cash siya. So, isa to sa mga example ng isang money market mutual funds.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Angela Ricon, one of the reporter of Group 3. My topic is all about exchange-traded funds. Are investment companies that allow investors to pool their money into a fund that invests in assets like bonds, stocks, or other assets. So basically, ito yung essential basket of securities na kung saan ito yung nagtatrack ng index, commodity, or group of assets, providing investors with a diversified investment option. Include dito yung different asset classes such as yung stocks nga, yung bonds, and other securities. Yung exchange traded fund, isa siyang flexible, diversification benefits, and cost effectiveness. Pero kagaya ng ibang investment, ito ay may risk at kailangan ng investor na mag-ingat na kung saan need nila mag-conduct ng research before investing. So, one of the best example of this is yung larong Axie. Alam naman natin na yung Axie nung kapanahunan is mataas yung SLP. Siguro yung isang SLP is pumapatak ng 30 pesos, ganun. So, kaya madaming naingganyang maglaro sa kanya. But now, kung ngayon ka mag-invest is, wala na. Malulugi ka kasi parang papatay na siya. Sa pagkakaalam ko, ang SLP is pumapatak na lang siya ng 0.21 for something, ganun. So, it is important na mag-conduct muna tayo ng research before mag-invest sa exchange-traded funds. Return and risk of a mutual fund. The risk of investing in mutual funds is determined by the underlying risk of the stocks, bonds, and other investment held by the fund. So, the risk and return of mutual fund are related, with higher risk generally leading to higher potential return, but also higher potential for loss. The risk of mutual fund is determined by the risk of the stocks, bonds, and other investment it holds. No mutual fund can guarantee its returns, and none are risk-free.
Selecting mutual funds involves considering factors like your investment goals, risk tolerance, fund performance, fees, and the fund manager's track record. Researching and comparing various options can help you make an informed decision. First is investment goal. It helps you where you can use your money to invest and how you save it, so that you can invest someday in some things you want, like rental housing. And as an investor, for example, you should have a goal, and this is where the investment goal will come. Because you already have a specific time and good plan where to use your money, and you want to use it. Risk tolerance. Risk tolerance, this will define you how risk-taker you are. That's why you should know when to and when not to invest or spend your money into something. And you should know how many money you will spend on how money you can afford to lose, so that the planned investment will not be in vain. Fund performance. Fund performance. In this topic, it shows how the money works and perform around the company, like how the money you lost you got and how the money you gain in your investment. A fee. So basically, fee is the compensation that the workers or financial professionals receive due to their service. It includes the managers that choosing investment or funds, or to those helping them executing their trades in organization or the company. Fund manager's track record. Lastly, here the fund manager track record is like an example of report card, an important tool for investors, so that they know how to manage and use the money that's circulating around the.
Good day everyone, I am Crisome Alpomarejos, the 8th reporter of Group 3, and I will be discussing the quotation of mutual fund. What is quotation of mutual fund? A mutual fund quotation, it provides a snapshot of a fund's performance and value at the close of a business day. Quotation in mutual funds are like price tags. They show how much it costs to buy or sell parts of the fund, just like you look at a price tag before buying something. Investors look at quotations to know how much they will pay or get when trading mutual fund shares. So this quotation of mutual fund is important indicators for investors and financial institutions because it provides insight into a market dynamics and investment opportunity. To better understand the quotation of mutual fund, we have two types of component, the net asset value and the bid-ask price. The net asset value, this is essentially the per share value of mutual funds, underlying assets. So imagine if you own a pie, and each slice represents a share of mutual fund. The net asset value is like the value of each slice, yung value ng each slice. So to calculate it, it is calculated by deducting the total liabilities from the total asset and dividing by the total number of outstanding units. A higher net asset value basically indicates a stronger financial position of the fund. After this, we have the discussion of how to compute the net asset value. The bid-ask price, this reflects the price a financial institution is willing to buy or bid or sell as shares of the mutual fund that they hold. The bid price is typically lower than the ask price, creating a spread. So yung bid price, ito yung highest price na kung saan yung buyer is willing to pay for a unit of mutual fund. It's like their offer para sa share or unit na yon. Yung ask price naman, ito naman yung lowest price at which a seller is willing to sell a unit of the mutual fund. Yung difference between the bid and ask price ay tinatawag natin na bid-ask spread. So, for example ng bid-ask spread, if a mutual fund has a bid price of $10 and ask price of $10.10, so yung bid-ask spread doon is yung $0.10. So this means that if you were to buy shares, you would pay $10.10 per share. But if you were to sell, you will receive $10 per share. The difference of $0.10 is the spread. So, para mas mabilis natin maintindihan, like sa palengke, di ba? May specific price yung isang damit, kunwari $250. And then tumawad ka, sabi mo $230 na lang. So, yung bid-ask spread doon is yung 20 pesos na pagitan nilang dalawa. So, yun yung tinatawag nating bid-ask spread. The investors are often considered the bid-ask spreads when trading to understand the costs involved in buying or selling shares of a mutual fund. The lower the spreads can be more favorable for investor as they imply lower transaction costs. Now let's move on how to calculate the net asset value. So we have here the example on how to get the net asset value of a mutual fund. So we have the example. Assume we have a mutual fund with the following details. So yung total fund asset natin is the $10 million and the total fund liabilities is $500,000. The total number of outstanding units is 1 million. So, using the formula of net asset value, which is total fund assets minus total fund liabilities divided by the total number of outstanding units. So, we need to substitute the given values into the formula. Yung $10 million minus $500,000 divided by 1 million equal to $9,500,000 divided by 1 million. Yung net asset value natin is equals to $9.50 per unit. So, yun yung price ng mutual fund per value. Now, let's move on to the types of quotation. So, naglagay ako ng types of quotation dito, yung tinatawag nating real-time quotations and end-of-the-day quotation. So, ano nga ba yung real-time? From the word real-time. Ito yung live reports or updates during the trading day. Just like how you get scores or yung mga live na balita, ito yun. This is quotation are constantly changing as trading happens, giving you up-to-minute information on the prices of the mutual fund. So, the end of day quotation naman, ito naman yung from the word end of day, ito yung end of day quotation, ito yung final score announced after the market close. So, dito nagre-reflect yung net asset value at the end of the trading day. Pinapakita dito yung mutual fund perform throughout the entire day. Ito yung summarizing ng entire day's trading activity in one report once the market has closed. So, yun yung types of quotation. Next, yung nagbigay din ako ng factors na nakaka-apekto sa mutual fund. First is yung market condition. So, for example, imagine you are reporting on a big event where people are buying and selling stock. Yung market condition are like the atmosphere of this event. It's all about how much people want something or tinatawag nating demand and versus how much it available, which is tinatawag natin supply. So, pag marami yung demand, mataas yung prices. And pag marami yung supply is bababa yung prices. Ganon din sa mutual fund. Pag mas marami yung nagdidemand na bumili dun sa share or unit, mas mataas yung price. And pag hindi naman, is mas mababa. Yung next factor naman na nakaka-apekto is yung fund performance. So, pag, di ba, pag maganda yung, for example, sa game, pag maganda yung performance sa laro, lagi sila nanalo, o kaya yung performance nila, nakakahakot sila ng fans. Ganun ng mga fans nila na gustong manood sa ganun din sa mutual fund quotation. Parang pag maganda yung performance ng isang mutual fund, marami yung bibili nung share ng unit. Then, pag hindi naman maganda yung performance, magkakaroon ng selling pressure kasi bebenta ng mga may hawak ng unit yung parang yung share or unit nilang mutual fund dahil hindi maganda yung performance. So, that's all for my report. Thank you so much.
Good day everyone, my name is Shirlene Donggaya. Today, we're going to talk about an important concept in investing called diversification among mutual funds. Imagine kapag meron tayong pera na gustong i-invest, we tempted na ilagay lahat to sa isang fund. Yung way na yun is can be risky. So, kapag yung isang fund na yun is hindi nag-perform ng maayos, maaari yung pera natin is malugi. So, diversification, isa siyang strategy na makakatulong para ma-reduce yung risk. It means spreading your money across different mutual funds. To diversify effectively, kailangan natin i-consider yung mga ilang bagay. First, kailangan natin i-invest yung pera natin sa iba't ibang types of asset. It means yung pera natin, pwede natin i-invest sa stocks, yung iba naman sa bonds and maybe in cash. By doing this, hindi natin ilalagay lahat ng pera natin sa isang basket or sa isang mutual fund. Next, it is important to choose mutual fund with different styles. Some fund is nakafocus sa growing companies, while yung iba is look for undervalued stocks. By investing in the mix of these styles, maaari natin ma-balance yung portfolio for gain and losses. And you should also diversify different sector. That means investing in mutual funds in different industries, katulad ng technology, healthcare, finance, and more. By doing this, kapag yung isang sector kasi is hindi nag-perform ng maayos, maaaring merong ibang sectors na tutulong sa'yo para mabawi yung losses mo or yung nalugi sa'yo. Geographic diversification is also important. You should consider investing in mutual funds that focus on a different region, such as international market, United States, or even emerging market. Makakatulong to para magprotektahan yung investment mo from economic or political issue that may arise in a particular country or region. And another aspect of diversification is choosing mutual funds managed by different fund manager or companies. Yung mga manager kasi is meron silang iba't ibang investment approach. Kapag nag-invest ka in multiple funds, maaaring mag-benefit ka doon sa iba't ibang perspective and strategies. It also important na tumingin ka sa risk level ng mutual fund na pipiliin mo. Kasi yung ibang fund is mas risky compared sa iba. By combining fund with varying risk levels, maaaring makakreate ka ng balanced portfolio na nag-aalign with your own tolerance for risk. Lastly, it is important na i-consider yung correlation between mutual fund. Correlation is a measure of how closely their performance is related. Ideally, if you want a fund with low correlation, meaning their performance tends to move independently of each other. Makakatulong to para ma-diversify mo yung portfolio mo. Remember, diversification doesn't guarantee profits or protect against losses. Pero makakatulong siya para mabawasan yung risk na maubos yung lahat ng pera natin. So, it is important na merong regularly monitoring sa ating investment and make an adjustment na kinakailangan para ma-maintain natin yung diversification based on our goals. That's all. Thank you for listening.